We can now go across to our correspondent, Noga Tarnopolsky, standing by in Jerusalem. Noga, good afternoon. What do we know about the misidentified body that was handed over?
Well, we know that this has happened before with Hamas, sometimes intentionally. For example, in February, if I'm not mistaken, when the entire Bibas family, the bodies of the two children and the mum, were returned to Israel, the children's bodies were returned, but the mother was replaced with the body of a Palestinian woman, and Israel at that time complained very loudly. This time, out of the 8 bodies that have been returned, one turns out to have been a young Gazan man in military uniform. And this time Israel is actually responding very mutedly. And what the Israeli army has let us know is that they think that because this person was in a military uniform, that Hamas may have assumed he was an IDF, an Israel Defense Forces soldier. So the body will be returned, but obviously Israel is still awaiting 21 bodies of its actual hostages.
Noga, in the last hour, I spoke to a spokesperson for the Norwegian Refugee Council, and they told me that the Rafah crossing is still not open. What are you hearing? Because Israel seemed to suggest that it was going to be open from today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad you were able to get that information, because I haven't been able to get any clear assurances here. Yesterday, when it seemed that Hamas was really, for lack of a better term, was really playing around with the return of the remains of Israeli hostages who did not survive captivity, Israel declared that it would not open the Rafah crossing today. That's the border between Gaza and Egypt, and that it would not allow the full amount of humanitarian aid trucks into Gaza in kind of retribution. But then this morning we heard the opposite. As you say, the Israeli army said that, in fact, it believed Hamas was acting in good faith, and it was expecting to receive more bodies, more remains of dead Israeli hostages during the course of the day. As far as I know, that has yet to happen as well. And we have not been able to, it's been very unclear. I don't believe that the full cohort of all of the aid trucks that were supposed to enter, 600 trucks that were supposed to enter Gaza today, have in fact gone in, but we don't have specific numbers. And about Rafah, the crossing, Israel appears to be intentionally maintaining a kind of vagueness, a lack of clarity on this, possibly to press Hamas by not opening the crossing while not acting brazenly in contravention of the terms of this deal. But I'm really speculating here because we just don't know, and I am still continuing to ask the Israeli army these questions.
Noga, on Monday, when US President Donald Trump was speaking to Israeli lawmakers, he called on Israel's president to pardon Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm just curious, what is happening with the prime minister's corruption trial?
Right. It's nice of you to say that he was speaking to Israeli lawmakers, because many here consider them lawbreakers. And in fact, that request, it turns out that Benjamin Netanyahu took advantage of his 20-minute car ride with Donald Trump to ask him to bring up this possibility of a pardon. It was making a mockery of the judicial process, as continued today. Netanyahu's on trial for corruption. These are serious charges. He initially tried to get out of his testimony today by claiming there would be an important diplomatic visit. That turned out not to be the case. The judges did call him to testify. He went to court after a little more than an hour. He said he had to go attend to an important matter. And then he said he had to leave because he's suffering from a very stubborn case of bronchitis. This has caused a huge eruption in Israel, not just because of the contempt of court, but because last night Benjamin Netanyahu went to visit a small number of the hostages who'd been released. He was photographed with them. And the chairman of the Israeli Association of Public Health Physicians, Dr. Haggai Levine, decried, saying that either the prime minister lied in court and he does not have bronchitis, but that if he does, he put the lives of these hostages who have very compromised immune systems in danger. And that really is the headline news in Israel as I speak to you today, Delano.